What's up, everyone? It's Dr. Charlie, physical therapist. And in today's video, I want to give you my opinion and my thoughts on should you or should you not push through pain. So if you're dealing with any type of back, butt, and or sciatica problem, or somehow you just landed via the YouTube algorithm on this page and you have some type of pain that you're dealing with, should you push through it or should you not, right? So a lot of people, when I'm chatting with them, they have this question. They're just not really sure what to do. So many resources out there are telling you, this idea of no pain, no gain, or people think that if you just push through it, that you'll somehow get to the other side. So I want to clear that up in today's video. Real quick, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Charlie Johnson. I am a physical therapist and I have my board specialty in orthopedics. And essentially what I do is I help people all over the world with unresolved back, butt, and sciatic problems learn to fix themselves. So essentially, I used to do a lot of the fixing, a lot of hands-on treatment, and now I teach people how to treat themselves by giving them the tools, knowledge, and understanding to be their own best self-sustainable healers so that they don't need to rely on other people to fix their problems. And if you haven't already done so, take a moment to check out my DIY Better Than an MRI Diagnostic Guide. You can download that for free above and or in the comments below. And here's a look inside the guide. Essentially, I created this guide to let you inside my brain, right? Such you can see sort of my decision-making framework for how to figure out, what could be going on with your back, butt, and or leg problem. So literally, it's just a sort of if this, then that algorithm, exactly what I would do if you were in person. I was evaluating, but I'm telling you, you don't need an MRI. In the majority of cases, you can totally do this on your own. So that being said, let's jump into answering this question of should you push through pain or should you not? So if you're in pain and you're looking for relief, chances are you've tried many of these different things. If you've got a literal pain in the butt and or sciatica or some type of back problem, because this is what everybody recommends, right? And a lot of it hurts so good, but the point is it still hurts. So you can see here, foam roller, maybe a tennis or lacrosse ball. Maybe you bought one of those like hip flexor, so right things, right? That jam into your pelvis. Maybe you've paid to have someone dig their elbow in your butt cheek, and or a lot of times like a spouse or partner will maybe be doing it for you. You've tried the figure 4 stretches, right? And you probably have seen one of these, thought about getting one. Maybe you have one in your closet and or maybe considering some type of dry needling, things like this. And the idea is, look, if these things don't hurt, okay, but a lot of times they do hurt. And we're sort of torn here in society, right? And in this pain relief community as to should we push through symptoms? Should we not? Should we do things that hurt? If we do things that hurt, for some reason, people believe that if they just grit it out, again, they'll get to the other side and somehow, someday find relief. So the short answer, based off my experience, is that no, you should not be pushing through symptoms or not be pushing through pain. You can take my word for it. This is just based off my experience of treating thousands of people all around the world with back, butt, and sciatica problems. So do what you wish, but the short answer is no, I would not recommend that. Now, let me explain. Okay, so that's the short answer, but here's the long answer and sort of the why I do not recommend pushing through symptoms. So realize that at the end of the day, pain is a danger signal, and it's designed to keep you safe and help you survive. It's actually a good thing. So you want to think of it like this. If you put your hand on a hot stove, what happens? Well, your brain senses danger and tells your body, hey, remove your hand before you burn yourself. And fire alarms are sort of another thing in life that kind of act the same way, right? To alert us of danger and keep us safe. And look, if there's a fire, the smoke, the fire, right? The problem, the threat, hopefully sets off the fire alarm. And this is totally useful. If there's an actual fire, right? It can actually save your life, which is kind of a big deal. But sometimes it's a false alarm, right? So the fire alarm might make a mistake, or other times, even after the fire has been put out, the smoke is all clear, the alarm keeps sounding, right? So I think back to maybe some high school years where maybe not the fire drills, but there are times where things were unplanned and fire alarms went off, smoke detectors, all that, right? All those bright blinking lights. You got to put your ears over your head. You march out. You're standing there looking for smoke outside the school. You're out there for like 20, 25 minutes. The fire company comes and they're like, hey, it was a false alarm. So this does happen. And our brains, just like the fire alarms, right, aren't perfect either. So just like a fire alarm can malfunction, our brains can also sort of make a mistake. So fire alarms can send off false alarms, and our brain can make a mistake and continue to experience danger signals, send off these false alarms, even though there is no current threat or damage to your body. So this commonly occurs when you're stuck in chronic pain. And chronic pain is sort of anything maybe 4 to 6 or even 3 to 6 months onward. But in either scenario, acute, something just happened, you just burnt your hand on a stovetop, right? Or chronic, you've been dealing with pain for say 3, 4, or 6 or more months. the pain you experience is always 100% real. But think of your pain as your alarm system, your fire alarm, if you will. Pushing through your pain just reinforces these danger signals and continues to sound your alarm system, right? So if you continue to puff smoke right underneath of the fire, alarms or the smoke detectors, they're going to keep going off. If you keep pushing through pain, then it's sort of like doing that, and you'll reinforce these signals, or you'll even turn up the volume and make this alarm system more sensitive. So the more you sound the alarm, the more you get used to hearing it. This is a major problem, right? And the more annoyed your neighbors get. So there might be a very small area of the brain that starts or that processes pain to begin with. But if you've been in pain for any amount of time and things become more chronic, meaning you've felt the pain, you've experienced the pain, you've heard that pain alarm system going off now for months, right? You start to alert other parts of the brain, and other parts of the brain start to get involved in pain processing. So you have some noisy neighbors, right? And some angry neighbors, and you start to create a racket within the system. So over time, pushing through pain either A, continues to aggravate the injured part of your body by sort of picking or nicking the scab, if you will, and just aggravating the problem, and or B, it teaches your brain to experience pain, because your brain, kind of like we alluded to, can actually begin to learn pain. And it just makes sense. So what would happen if for the next 6 months, every time you sat in a chair, a whoopee cushion went off? For those of you who don't know what a whoopee cushion is, you should check it out. But eventually your brain would learn to associate sitting with some form of embarrassment or frustration, and with the sensation of a whoopee cushion going off, right? And here's the thing, even if the whoopee cushion was no longer there, so for 6 months in a row it was always there, and then 6 months and one day you'd go to sit down, it's not there anymore, your brain would still trigger that sensation because it's so used to playing that tune and hearing that song. Whoopee cushion, not sure you call it a song, but that sensation. So now imagine for the next 6 months, every time you sat in a chair, you experienced pain. What would happen? Eventually, your brain would learn to associate sitting with pain. And even after the smoke clears or the fire is put out, right, or your body heals, because structures within the body heal over time, your brain still sends off the signals of pain or danger when you sit, despite your body being sort of back to normal. Interesting stuff, and your brain is a really powerful thing. So instead of pushing through pain, you must give your brain and a body a chance to calm down. So the alarm system has been sounding and it's become more sensitive. And now you've got neighbors that are annoyed and everything's sort of in a high alert state. If you continue to push through pain, you will continue to turn up the volume on the system and just stimulate it. So instead of pushing through it, you've got to give your body and your brain a chance to calm down. So this may mean temporarily avoiding things that aggravate your problem, not because you're fearful of doing them, just because, hey, like, you aggravate me right now and I'm not going to do that. Cool, I'll be back to try you on later. And so there is nothing wrong with avoidance. In fact, if symptoms are really ticked off, right, it may be all that you can do to find comfort and stop your pain alarm system from going off. But avoidance taken too far can reinforce that whatever you're avoiding is dangerous. So just be mindful of this. This is sort of a means to an end, which begins to, over time, train your brain that whatever it is you're avoiding is dangerous. So ideally, look, find creative ways to tweak what you're doing, or to modify, if you will, if at all possible, what you're doing so that you can continue to stay active. So for example, if squatting to a certain depth is painful, try box squats, right? Or try squatting to only a certain depth, just shy of when you feel the symptoms, so limiting the range. If walking becomes yucky and you love to walk, but after 10 minutes you notice that you start to have some back, butt, or leg stuff, then walk for 9 or walk for 8. Or if walking for 20 minutes becomes painful, maybe you chunk it. So you walk for 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes at night, or something like that, right? The brain doesn't know. Exercise is cumulative, so it doesn't really know if you do it morning or night or anything like that. It's just, hey, it's 20 minutes still. It's the same amount of time, but you chunked it and you made it more tolerable. So this is what happens if you push through pain, right? So if your pain threshold is that red line, meaning the amount of time or sort of what you can do, the level of what you can do, the level of activity, what you can do before you feel the pain, right, is say at that red line. Well, if you push through it, then you're going to have an ouch or an oh shoot moment or a crap that hurt moment, right? And it's going to set you back, probably into a flare-up or something like that. And then you'll crash and you'll burn, and then you'll be like, all right, cool. And you'll go back to it, push through pain. And this is what happens. So you're stuck on this roller coaster of doing nothing, doing everything, doing nothing, pushing through it, doing nothing, pushing through it. And you keep paying for it. So you keep setting off the alarm system too much too fast. If you just touch it or you nudge it or you go just shy in the examples that I gave previous. And obviously, if you want to go swimming or if you want to play tennis or you just want to be able to go up the stairs, right? Like you can modify that idea of kind of chunking things or breaking things down, right? To make things as tolerable as possible. But the idea is like you have a pain threshold and it's not as high as you want, meaning you can't do as much as you want to begin with. Okay, but over time, you go up close to it, you kind of touch the alarm goes beep, and then you walk away, right? And then you show up again. You show up again. You just keep showing up. And over time, generally what happens is you increase that pain threshold. You increase the amount of activity that you can do before you set off the alarm system. So you desensitize the alarm. Right? So on the left, again, that's pushing through pain. This is the idea of like no pain, no gain. On the right, this is the idea of like pushing to pain. Just going to the edge of it, just exploring it, walking up to the edge, looking over and saying, okay, I'm done. So this is knowing, K-N-O-W, understanding pain and what you're dealing with. No pain, no gain. If you don't know pain, there ain't no gain. So do what you can to stay active with intolerance. Find creative ways to keep moving and turn down the volume on your pain alarm system or increase how much you can do before noticing pain. There's so many different ways that you could modify activity. So we can't go through all of them, but you get the idea, hopefully, from a really high level. Now it just takes a little bit of creativity and persistence and experimentation to figure out what that looks like for you. So even if you can't find ways to engage the painful area directly because it's just too painful, find another way to keep moving, even if it's outside the area of injury. The whole thing is wired and connected, all right? So if it hurts to do lunges with your right leg, still do them with your left. It doesn't mean you can't go to the gym. I see so many people are like, I can't run. What do you mean you can't run? Well, I can't run like more than a mile and I want to be able to, I used to be able to do like 5 miles. Okay, then run 0.9 miles and do that every single day and just keep showing up. So if the legs or back are off limits, why not find an activity that's fun and uses your arm, uses your arms, uses your upper body? Can you do push-ups? Can you do planks? Can you do things like that, right? So a big shift here is obviously not pushing through pain, right? But focusing on what you can do and feel safe, that's a key word, versus what you can't do and feels threatening. But whatever you do, don't push through pain, touch it, nudge it, dance around it for now. The goal isn't that you have to live like this for long term, right? But not through it. Respect it. And here's the thing, and have patience, right? This is easier said than done. So at the end of the day, you're in pain. And if you're like most people who get stuck in pain, you're probably trying to really problem solve this. You're watching this video, right? You probably watched 10 other videos. You spend a lot of your day thinking about it. It's there on your brain when you wake up, when you go to sleep, right? Maybe occasionally if you're working or doing something else, maybe you're a little bit distracted and you don't notice it as much. But the idea is like pain can sort of magnetize you, right? It can pull you to this state of preoccupation where you start to worry and be concerned and wonder and just kind of like ruminate on it. All right. So easier said than done. Just recognize a lot of people think that recovery is linear. So they start doing something, it's like, woohoo, right? But it's not. All right. So it goes up and then it goes down. You have a good day and then maybe you have a bad day. And the goal at the end of the day is to start to have more good days than bad days, right? And the idea is that this is all compounded over time. So don't forget about the compound effect, just like you probably understand with money. You put $1 in today, maybe it's, I don't know, nowadays it's not much, but a little bit more later on. All right. So have patience in this process. Recovery is not linear. It will go up. It will go down. And I know this is easier said than done, but whatever you do, again, do not push through symptoms. You will just prolong your recovery. So that's all I got. Hopefully this was helpful. If you found this useful, please hit the like button, hit comment, and let me know your thoughts. Also subscribe to the channel for more like videos. Again, I help people with these back, butt, and leg problems. So please check out what I have on my channel, lots of different stuff for you to watch and consume and just wrap your head around. All right. So until next time, we will chat soon. Thanks, everyone.